Hey guys, for today's video we are going to do a look inspired from UK makeup artists, especially like Mitchell, Stacey Marie, and P. Louise Makeup Academy. If you are on Instagram a lot or on Facebook, you have probably seen their work. They do very different techniques than we do in the United States. And honestly, I really like their style. I just haven't really branched into trying it, so I thought we could try it out together today. So if you would like to see how I did this UK inspired look, just stay tuned on watching. First things first is I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair. And for today I'm going to use this as eyeshadow primer. I noticed that the people in the UK, they use P. Louise's, eyeshadow base. But I don't have that, so I'm just going to kind of work with Shape Tape. And then I'm just going to go in with my Real Techniques medium shadow brush and just really buff it around and kind of move it around to set the eyes. Being honest, the reason I don't use concealer as a base is because it's just a little too heavy for my liking. I really want to try out the P. Louise one, but I just haven't gotten around to it, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to kind of go like on a website like Beautylish or something like that. Next I'm going to go into Suva Beauty Single Eyeshadow in the shade Hookah, which is kind of a pinky purple shade. It's a little bit neutral as well, but it's really on the deep end. And I'm going to go in using my Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush. And what the UK people I've noticed do is they really pack this into the crease and they do not set their eyeshadow primer. Now you guys, if you have been watching a lot of my tutorials, I always set my eyeshadow primer. I like the finish I get with it. However, in the UK I've noticed, like the UK artists, they do not set their eyeshadow primer. And they really pack this color on and don't blend it out. They just really want that like full-on pigmentation. I've noticed a lot of people in the UK, they do makeup like completely backwards of how I have always done it. Which is really why I wanted to do this tutorial, because I want to try new techniques, and since they do things so much different than me, I thought maybe I would learn a lot doing stuff like them. One thing I'm noticing about doing this just initially is my shadow is super pigmented, and there's like no creasing at all either. It's just really staying on. A lot of times when I apply it otherwise, it gives me like a nice lighter wash, but since we are going darker to light, it's kind of nice that it is this pigmented with doing it this way, which I really like. Hopefully this technique works out, because I've been seeing a lot of people do it, but I haven't ever done it before, so hopefully mine turns out in a good way. So now I'm going to go into the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Bright Lights palette, and I'm going to go into this hot pink shade right here called Becca with a Sigma E35 tapered blending brush. And with this shade, I'm going to do it like kind of over this Hookah shade and also just a little bit above. And I'm really kind of like blending it as well as kind of like pressing it on top. So what I'm noticing about doing this technique is that my eyeshadows are more pigmented, but they're harder to blend out. If that makes sense. I think it's because we have that like sticky base. So it kind of like makes it so the lines are just a little bit more harsh, a little bit harder to blend out. Yeah, because see, you can see what I mean, like right here it's really kind of chunky. I never get chunky eyeshadow like this, but I also work in really light layers with how I do my techniques. So as you can see, it's like kind of chunky-ish, but that could just be because I'm not used to doing it this way. But honestly, we're trying new things today. And that's the goal of this video, is to try new things, so we're gonna go with it. So since I kind of brought up the eyeshadow just a little bit higher than I wanted, I'm gonna go in with Sugar Pill's white eyeshadow in the shade Taco on a Real Techniques shadow brush and really kind of like buff this edge just a little bit. Because I do want to apply one more color up here, so I'm just gonna kind of bring it down a little. And again, going in with the same palette, I'm going to go in with Lit right here, which is a neon yellow, again using the same Sigma E35 tapered blending brush. And with this shade, I'm going to kind of just go over this pink, this bright pink Becca, and kind of turn it just a little bit like a creamsicle orange kind of yellow shade. So to cut my crease, I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair like normal. But for a brush, I'm actually going to use one that's a lot different and one I have never used to cut my crease before, which is this one from BH Cosmetics in the Rose Gold set. It's kind of a flat shader brush, but the bristles are a lot longer and it's a little bit more kind of not as dense as the ones I normally use. But I see a lot of people in the UK when they do their makeup in like videos on Instagram, they use this really large MAC eyeshadow brush. I can't remember the number of it, but I will link it in the description because I have it written down somewhere, but I'll find it for you guys if you're interested. But this is kind of the closest brush that I have, so I'm just going to use this one. So what I'm doing, since this is a really large brush for me, I'm really packing on this base, or this concealer I should say, and I'm really going on both sides, and I'm really making sure to focus the product towards the tip of the brush so I can get a really, really precise line. So I'm kind of like building up the product and also kind of wiping it down just a little bit so we can get a really nice kind of crisp line with this brush. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm really making it so this point in the tip of the brush is really precise so we can get a nice crisp line when we go in for our cut crease. So I just want to talk to you guys kind of a personal preference kind of thing, just because we are trying these new techniques, and I just kind of want to explain what's happening for me. With using that larger BH Cosmetics kind of flat shader brush, kind of like that MAC brush that we were talking about earlier, this brush does not give me enough control for a cut crease. I'm surprised that most people use like a larger brush because I have a lot of problems getting like a nice crisp line. As you can see like right here, I will obviously fix it up. But it was just really hard to get like a nice precise line just because the brush was so large and I didn't have as much control. However, out of the same set, I normally use this kind of smaller flat shader brush, and I could really kind of carve out my crease just a lot easier. I got like honestly like a nicer, crisper line with it too. And it was just easier to see and easier to control just because it was a smaller brush. But yeah, I'm not really liking the larger brush idea just personally because it just doesn't work for me to get a nice crisp line, but maybe it's just the brush I'm using too, or just because it's not something that fits my technique, but I'm not liking that as much, I will say. To blend out whatever this concealer line is giving me, I'm going to go in with whatever I have left in my Real Techniques Essential Crease Brush, and I'm just going to lightly kind of dust just the outer edge of this line, just to soften it up and kind of give it that seamless blend. So off camera, I just did some really cool graphic eyeliner. I'm really liking how it turned out, but honestly, I've never done eyeliner like this, and if I have, it's probably been a few years, because I honestly can't remember doing it. But I just used this AMC gel eyeliner from Inglot in the shade 88. It's this really beautiful like sky blue shade. I really honestly love Inglot gel eyeliners. They are one of the best, if not the best. And they have such really fun and cool colors to decide from as well. And then I just applied it with my favorite eyeliner brush, which is the Sigma E06 winged eyeliner brush. It is such a nice brush if you like to do winged eyeliner with a gel formula. It honestly is just the nicest brush. Like the bristles, they're just really easy to get like that really nice crisp line or like wing, and then really bring it in towards the inner corner of the eye. I just love this brush and the shape of it, and the bristles are really nice to use as well. But yeah, here's where I'm at right now with the eyes. I do have lashes on, and then I did tightline my inner waterline with the Sigma Wicked eyeliner, like the gel formula, but otherwise off camera I'm just going to apply the rest of my face and do my eyebrows and my lipstick. So here's where I'm at right now with the makeup. I kind of just did everything but highlighter and the lower lash line, and I thought we could film that part. But for right now, what I have done and what I've noticed with the UK style is that they really like a nice full coverage base, like a full coverage foundation and concealer. Another thing I've noticed with UK artists is they wear a lot of blush in their looks. I think that's actually really pretty because I know in the US right now we aren't wearing as much blush. I know like Nikki Tutorials and like Patrick Star, they wear blush and they really push us into using blush. But a lot of other artists, they barely use it, or they use like something like a terracotta shade that almost looks like bronzer, or just a slight like peach shade, but nothing really drastic. But in the UK, I've noticed that they really wear drastic blush, which almost in a way I kind of like. I think it's really pretty, really girly, really feminine, and it's really pretty. Another thing I've noticed with UK artists that at least I'm referring to in this video is they wear like these really cool like lips. It's like you do like a darker base color and then you go in and fluff like a lighter color in the center, and then you either put a gloss on top or they put like a highlighter on top. For today, I just use highlighter because I'm not really feeling a glossy lip because I don't feel like having it go all over my face. Because I have a pop right next to me, so, or a soda I should say, for people that aren't from where I am, we call it pop. But yeah, I just kind of put some highlighter in the center of my lip just to kind of make it a little bit more plush in a way. And I think the biggest thing I've noticed with UK artists is they do this like really fluffy brow. I can't really do it, honestly, just because my eyebrow hairs aren't long enough. But what I did for mine is I took Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. And I normally did how I usually do my eyebrows. I just traced them in like normal. And then what I did is I took a clear brow gel and then I really pushed it into the brows and really like pulled them upwards. And really got them really like fluffy in a way. And I really like how it kind of looks like more fluffy on the ends. And it kind of gives a more natural feel to them. And then after I did the clear brow gel, I just took a little bit more of Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow, and I just kind of filled in the little gaps where I had some skin showing. And I really actually like how it looks, and I actually kind of wish that I would have used a brow powder, but I was really fearing that it might get really smudgy and smeary if I used it, so I just kind of opted for Dip Brow. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in with Suva Beauty's Hookah, and I'm going to go in with this kind of smudger brush from Eco Tools. I'm going to really pack this shade on underneath the lower lash line. And then next I'm going to go back in with Becca from the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Bright Lights palette on a Carity E30 brush. And I'm going to smudge this right underneath Hookah, just lightly. And again, using the same Bright Lights palette, I'm going to go into Lit on the same brush, which is this neon yellow shade. And then again, I'm going to smudge this right underneath Becca. For highlighter today, I'm going to go into the Ofra Cosmetics highlighter in Pillow Talk with a Beauty Crop fan brush. And then I'm just going to apply this right onto my cheekbones. I'm also going to kind of bring it up the temple. And whatever's left, I'm going to put on the forehead. I'm also going to take this down the center of my nose and get the tip of my nose as well. And then the tip of the bridge. And last but not least, I'm going to take a pencil brush from the Beauty Crop and I'm going to apply this highlighter right into my inner corner tear duct. And then I'm going to kind of bring it underneath around as well. Just to really open up the eye. I'm just going to pat it out as well just to kind of get it a little bit more diffused. So here's the finished look. It is inspired from makeup artists over in the UK, which have a definite different style than makeup artists here in the United States. What I really like about this look is it's very artistic, it's very girly, it has a lot of dimension to it, it plays around with a lot of color, and overall it's just a lot of different techniques that I normally wouldn't do if it was me just doing my makeup on the daily or for Instagram. I think things that I really like about this look are the really like fluffy brows. They look really natural. I know I probably goofed them up a little bit because I normally don't do them this way, but I really want to experiment more with like a fluffy kind of natural-ish looking brow. I think it looks really cool in pictures and it's not so crisp and defined, which I kind of like almost. Another thing I really like for a technique-wise, I really like doing the darkest to light approach, especially with the darkest color going first. I noticed I got a lot more pigmentation without having to use as much product, which I really enjoyed. It's just a little bit harder to blend out that way, but honestly, for the results I was getting, I really actually enjoy it, and I will probably continue to try and use this technique, or use it alongside my other technique and kind of play around with what works best for me. Another thing I like about this style of makeup is using blush. Normally I never use blush in my makeup looks, or if I do, it's really not as prominent. But I really actually like the look of blush. I'm actually really surprised because for the longest time I have never used blush. I think it's just kind of a trend thing. I was following trends, not as many people were using it, so then I just kind of stopped. Because when I was in high school, I actually wore blush as contour, which is kind of weird, but honestly, it didn't look bad because when I look at old pictures of me, it doesn't look like I look crazy or anything because I used to wear like a dark mauve, so it kind of had like a kind of a cool tone to it, so it didn't look as bad. But I haven't honestly worn blush since, or like barely any if I do, but I'm actually really liking how it looks, especially with a bronzer and contour powder. I think one of the things I don't really care for with this style of makeup is I really honestly don't like these like lip combinations. I don't like them where they're really defined and then you take a a brush to blend out the color in the center. I'm just not into that style. I prefer a flat lipstick color with really no dimension. That's just kind of my style and my taste. Because I have small lips, so I feel like when I started doing really fancy things like this, that it kind of accentuates them a little bit more, and when you have small lips, you don't always want to accentuate them. But overall, I honestly had a lot of fun trying out all of these techniques. I've been wanting to do a look like this for a long time now, but I haven't really gotten to it. But it's really fun to try out different techniques from different artists, especially in different countries, I've noticed. So I'm really happy that I did this video and tried all these techniques out for myself. Let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts on this makeup look are, and if you are going to incorporate any UK makeup artists kind of styles into your looks now after seeing this video or seeing their Instagram pages and work. I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below, and if you would like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram account is @lethal_kitten. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and until next time, bye!